Ever get the feeling someone's picking your pocket? Well, if you've ever had a credit card, a student loan, or a mortgage, you've probably been a victim. And I'm not talking about petty change here. I'm talking about billions of dollars, siphoned away by sneaky fees and predatory lending practices. Before 2011, the financial world was like the Wild West. But instead of saloons and dusty trails, it was riddled with confusing contracts and hidden charges. Banks and lenders were like slick card sharks ready to deal you a bad hand at every turn. But then, something amazing happened. A hero emerged from the shadows, a beacon of hope for the financially downtrodden. Okay, maybe not a hero in a cape and tights, but a government agency with the power to fight back against these financial bullies. That's right, folks. I'm talking about the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB. This isn't just some boring government bureaucracy. This is your money we're talking about, and the CFPB is here to make sure it stays yours. Remember the days before the CFPB? It was a financial free-for-all. Banks could slap hidden fees on your credit card bills like it was a game. They'd bury the terms and conditions in tiny print, hoping you wouldn't notice that extra $50 inactivity fee. Mortgages? Forget about it. They were like financial hieroglyphics designed to confuse even the savviest borrower. People were losing their homes because they simply couldn't understand the terms of their loans. And student loans? Don't even get me started. These predatory loans saddled young people with mountains of debt before they even knew what an interest rate was. It was a mess, a complete and utter disaster. But then, a light appeared at the end of the tunnel. In 2011, after the worst financial crisis in generations, the CFPB was born. Its mission? To protect ordinary Americans from the shady practices of the financial industry. Think of the CFPB as the financial watchdog for the little guy. They're the ones making sure banks play by the rules, the ones who say, hey, you can't hide fees in the fine print anymore. The CFPB is there to simplify things, to make financial products and services easier to understand. They're fighting for transparency, fairness, and accountability in an industry that thrives on confusion and complexity. And you know what? The CFPB has been kicking some serious financial butt. They've returned billions of dollars to consumers who were cheated by banks and lenders. Remember those confusing credit card fees? The CFPB cracked down on those, forcing banks to be more transparent. They tackled predatory payday lenders who trapped people in cycles of debt. They even went after big banks for opening fake accounts in people's names. The CFPB isn't afraid to take on the big guys. They've slapped huge fines on some of the biggest names in finance, proving that no one is above the law, and they're just getting started. Section 5, Billionaires be warned, the CFPB is coming for you. Now you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but what does it have to do with billionaires? Well, here's the thing. Every dollar the CFPB recovers for consumers, every shady practice they shut down, is a dollar out of a billionaire's pocket. These billionaires, the ones who got rich off the backs of hardworking Americans, they're not happy. They're used to getting their way, used to calling the shots in Washington. And they don't like the CFPB one bit. They're pouring millions into lobbying efforts trying to defund and dismantle the CFPB. They're spreading misinformation trying to convince people that the CFPB is bad for business, bad for America. But don't be fooled. This isn't about business, it's about power. And they're afraid of the power the CFPB gives to ordinary people like you and me. Let's be clear, billionaires hate the CFPB for one simple reason. It cuts into their profits. They see the CFPB as a nuisance, an obstacle to their endless pursuit of wealth. They despise the idea of a government agency looking out for the little guy, ensuring fairness and transparency in an industry they've long considered their personal playground. But for everyday Americans, the CFPB is a lifeline. It's the difference between being trapped in a cycle of debt and achieving financial stability. It's the peace of mind knowing that someone is looking out for you, that you're not alone in the fight against predatory lending practices and financial scams. So, the next time you hear a billionaire complaining about the CFPB, remember this: they're not looking out for you. They're looking out for their own bottom line. Now imagine for a second that those billionaires get their way. Imagine a world without the CFPB. What happens then? Well, it's not pretty. Banks and lenders would be free to go back to their old tricks. Hidden fees would skyrocket. Predatory loans would trap millions in a cycle of debt. And the worst part? There would be no one to fight back. The CFPB is the only agency dedicated solely to protecting consumers in the financial marketplace. Without it, we'd be at the mercy of these financial predators, vulnerable to their every whim. But don't despair. There's still time to fight back. We can't let these billionaires win. We need to protect the CFPB, and we need to do it now. So what can you do? First, get informed. Learn about the CFPB, their mission, and their victories. Share this information with your friends and family, let them know what's at stake. Next, contact your elected officials. Tell them you support the CFPB and that you want them to protect it from attacks. Make your voice heard. Finally, support organizations that are fighting for consumer rights. These groups are on the front lines of this battle and they need our support. The fight for financial fairness is far from over, but with the CFPB on our side, we have a fighting chance. Remember, this isn't just about money, it's about justice. It's about ensuring that everyone, regardless of their income or background, has access to a fair and transparent financial system. The CFPB is our champion, the defender of our wallets. Let's make sure it stays that way, because when it comes to our money, we deserve nothing less.